Hello and welcome to Cruise Control. We've got a lot going on here, Les. The first story we're going to do is Nissan plans for big cuts, big cuts, 9,000 people in an effort to save the brand. You and I get accused of being, overreacting to saying some brands could end, but certainly it's bad news for Nissan. We'll talk about that, won't
Well,
we?
it's bad news. I mean, it's just bad news for the people who work there. It's bad news for the dealer. This has a cascading effect, which affects a lot of lives. And I don't. It's a good vehicle. So
Yes, yes. And then we're
um,
going to
I,
talk about 2025 Jeep Wagoneer, inexpensive little vehicle to run
next, right?
around.
It's next to my business jet there.
um, we got a lot to talk about with that. Well, a lot of things new on the vehicle for this
Yeah,
year.
heck of a vehicle. And
Yeah,
we're going to also talk about the JD Power Sales Satisfaction Index. Now, there's one that dealers worry about a lot.
yeah, they definitely do. And one brand came out ahead, and apparently they come out ahead often in this. So, and here's something that you'll be interested in. We're going to go back to SEMA because we're not done talking about SEMA 2024. There is a company building an all-electric, bespoke. I just say that because it
Yep.
annoys you. AC
I'll let you get
Ace.
away with that on this one, by the way.
Of course, if it looks like a Cobra, there's a reason for that, isn't it?
Yes, that's because it was the granddaddy of the Cobra. I am intimately familiar with it.
Yeah. So AC Ace is building that, and we'll talk about that. Also, the Ring Brothers. We told you a little bit about the Ring Brothers before, but they have been really building some very cool vehicles, and we're going to take a closer look at some of their work and the detail that goes into it. This is a car called Infected. I just love the names. And that is a
Infected.
CUDA. Yes, that is a CUDA. And then you said you're not a big fan of the Grand National, but what if it had 2,000 horsepower running 50 pounds of boost?
Um,
50
you know,
pounds of boost.
50 pounds of that's a whole other engine.
How can you make piston rings that can handle that?
I don't think well, anything can handle it for a little while, but then it'll explode.
Yes.
Unless you're building it out of a diesel engine, and
Yes.
I still don't, I just
I don't
don't
think
think
you.
it's a good looking car.
Yeah, and then we're gonna talk about their K5 Blazer. This is classic Ring Brothers. It looks like a
Yeah,
K5 Blazer, but it looks somehow different. And they literally move like fender opening back 1.5 inch. They slightly change these things, and that's the game with the Ring Brothers. You got to kind of look at what they've done and figure out what did they do there, right?
yeah, and then you realize it's nothing similar to the original,
That's
other
right.
than look like it.
Yeah. We're also going to talk about we had the folks on from Scout last week. There's big rumblings now of lawsuits over their idea of doing away with dealers and going direct to the public. So
Yeah.
here come the lawyers, Les Jackson.
Hey, look, uh, I'm here in D.C., which has the largest concentration of lawyers in the world.
Yeah, so we will talk about that, and not that the
And
DC
they
has a.
all they all love me for it.
I'm sure. I'm sure. You have a story on windshield damage, right? Which is
That's
interesting.
right. We're going to talk tech, a complex method of avoiding windshield
Brakes.
damage
Started
other
off with a
than
picture.
just not driving the car. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that annoying? You're driving a new car and a stone.
mm,
There's nobody's around, but a stone
uh,
comes out. Like where'd it come from? One of those jelly bean UFOs? I mean, there's nothing around, and it hits your boom, and sounds like it's going to go through your windshield. So
Yeah, I've
um,
only had it happen twice.
oh, okay. And if you want to rock a hybrid, we got one for you. Sonata Hybrid. This gets 51 miles to the gallon. That is pretty incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll have a full at the wheel review of that. These are nice sedans, aren't they?
Sedan it is.
All right, let's get going here.
This is Cruise Control.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin because you're on
Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. It's that time again to buckle up and get ready for a great bunch of information about the automotive industry. Right, Les?
Absolutely, and I'm all buckled in.
Good.
I have my cup holder over here.
A cup holder, 5-point harness.
Well, no, not in my office chair, but but I do have safety wheels
Excellent.
just in case.
Excellent. You've got a
Yeah.
story about Nissan, don't you?
Nissan, unfortunately, is planning big cuts in an effort to save the brand. I mean, we're at that level. We'll tell you all about it, what the ramifications are, and it ain't good.
No, they're not good at all. Over at Jeep, we're going to tell you about their Wagoneer for 2025. They've got a lot going on, and we're going to try to take you through all the different models and all the changes, a lot of special editions. Man, this is a big vehicle, isn't it?
Well, it's big and very expensive, and the ones I've driven have all been well over 100 grand.
Yes.
That one with in front of the Jet is probably 130.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine. Whew. You got a story from J.D. Power, right?
Yes, sales satisfaction at the dealership. Here it is, their sales satisfaction index, where they tell you which brands have the best, happiest customers from their dealers.
Happy customers. We like that. And maybe there will be some happy customers for this. This is a AC Ace, all electric, shown at Sema, the Sema show in Las Vegas. And it is bespoke, Les Jackson. I say that word to annoy you.
I know you do, but in this case you can't because of my history with Cobras. And the fact that I have one of these sitting in the garage just 13 miles from here, where we have our shop, and you probably couldn't tell the difference between this AC Ace and our little red Cobra.
What is your Cobra powered by?
A Holman and Moody 368 horsepower 289.
Wow. Okay. This one is all electric, so we'll tell you about that. We're also going to tell you about some great vehicles from the Ring Brothers. We got more detail. We told you a little bit about them last week. These were revealed at SEMA, including a Grand National that has 2,000 horsepower and 50 pounds of boost, which is crazy.
And I'm gonna be kind, and a rather homely looking car.
Oh, there you go. We're also we're also going to have a at the wheel review of the Sonata Hybrid. So jam packed on
Yes,
Cruise
you're
Control.
right.
We'll be right back. So Les, just to show that SEMA, you can customize anything at SEMA. There
That's
was
right.
a gathering of 12, count them, 12 Cybertrucks that had all been customized. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
Unplugged performance displayed 12 customized Tesla Cybertrucks at
They
SEMA 2024.
they look like um, a junior high school welding class project. You asked what I thought.
Well, there's all kinds of I love the aftermarket because something comes out and there's parts and pieces right away.
No,
Cyber Hex
I love the
wheels,
creativity. I think it's spectacular.
Cyber Hex wheels ranging from 20 to 24 inch.
Yeah.
Invincible off-road focused product line highlighting heavy-duty steel bumpers for
You-
Cybertrucks. Side mall panels for attaching crap to the side. Carbon fiber fender flares. Unplugged performance. That's
Okay.
what they are.
May I say something?
Yes.
Okay. Beauty is only skin deep, but ugly goes clear through.
I like the wheels, actually. I think the wheels make it look better.
Well, they do. If you can make it look better, yes, it's a good attempt.
The wheels are real nice. So,
Yeah.
but hey, they would customize a garbage can at SEMA.
Absolutely.
They
It's it is it's just a great place to see what people can do.
yes, and
SEMA,
yes, unlimited creativity, unlimited money.
unlimited money.
Yeah. We're going to get to this Nissan deal when we come back in live, but I tell you, there are so many brands in trouble. We talked about Stellantis. We talked about, Alpha and all their great lineup in trouble. And now it looks like Nissan might be. They are taking the hard steps, but still, it's not a good sign. And one of the things we're going to cover is Mitsubishi is even buying back its shares of Nissan
Wow.
to sort of
Yeah.
like that's sort of like cut the rope so you don't get pulled down with it, isn't it?
Yeah, you've cut the anchor chain.
Here we go. We're coming in. I
Okay.
think you're coming in, Les
I'm
Johnson.
coming in.
Cruise control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Well, Fred and I have, there's no joy in Mudville.
Nissanville.
That's an old Casey at the Bat beginning of a poem, but this is about Nissan, and it's just not good news. I hate to have to say it, but they're slashing at 9,000 jobs because their sales have tanked. The chief executive, Makoto Uchida, said he's taking a 50% pay cut and taking responsibility for the results, promising a turnaround. This is a global workforce reduction of 9,000, or about 6% of its 133,000 employees, and slashing global production by 20%, which means all their suppliers, guess what? Same thing. They'll have to be laying off people. So, man, the last quarter, through September, $60 million loss.
Oh man.
That ain't good.
No.
That's a loss. And
Yes. Yes,
that
it is.
doesn't work. It doesn't
Yeah.
work when you're selling anything.
Yeah.
And they didn't sell well here, which is, I think, their most lucrative of the auto markets.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. They're good products.
Yeah. They do have good products. They have Frontier. They have Pathfinder. I think the new kicks that they brought out
Yep.
looks great. We
Murano.
saw the new Murano with kind of that new front end on it that also is shared with the kicks. I don't know why that is. They sort of get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
They even have the Versa for somebody that wants to buy a base. Okay, it's not a lot of money to make on a Versa, but it brings people into the brand, and it's a decent car. They have the safety gear throughout their lineup. They do a
They're
lot of good things.
yeah, they're trucks. And by the way, I dare say there will be some wonderful deals here at the dealerships as they have fire sales on their products.
Yeah.
Um,
all
Man, but
all
just
aspects of their operations and plans will be under review. And do you think it is it the electric? We just had this story last week about them saying like maybe we won't go with electric vehicles, we'll go with a smaller batteries and a range extender and things like that, extended range electric vehicles. Do you think it's that they didn't plan accordingly? They lost money on big trucks, right? They're
they
getting
sure did.
out of the big truck market. Is it the struggle to go to electric? I mean, they were one of the first to offer electric car, the Leaf. I went
They
on the
were.
reveal for it, and I thought, hey, this isn't too bad,
They were. I can't. I thought about it. I can't really put my thumb on anything definite. I mean, if you think about it, at this end of the uh, the demographics who buy these vehicles, you're looking at Honda, um, Toyota, of course, Hyundai, and Kia, um, Chevy. Well, they were Chevy, Malibu. These kinds of cars. They didn't. They stopped making cars, which I think was a mistake, except
Mm-hmm.
the Versa. Their SUVs look and operate just
Path,
like everybody else's.
Pathfinder is a great vehicle. It
Terrific.
sells
Murano,
well.
great.
Yeah.
Uh,
I, you know,
I
I
I
know
don't
what
know.
our listeners will say. Well, it's the CVT transmissions. Always a lot of comments about CVT transmissions,
But they work.
and they're not the only ones to use CVT. I don't know. I like it to put it to our listeners. Send us a comment. Why is Nissan not doing well? I think it might just be poor planning on things, and
Probably is. It's as well as they say, as every executive has ever said, it's about product.
yeah, you've got to
And
have.
about product is not whatever they're making, it's not appealing to enough people.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So much so, of course, Nissan and Mitsubishi are aligned together, and it's been great for Mitsubishi because they just had no money to make new products, and I think they've made
Hmm.
the best out of this. But Mitsubishi has decided to acquire. Mitsubishi announced its decision to acquire 10% of its existing shares from Nissan. The sale will reduce Nissan's current stake in Mitsubishi from 34% to 24.05. So even Nissan and Mitsubishi are kind of making that relationship a little bit looser. But
Yeah. But
well, we want to hear from you. What do you think? We'll be right back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Uh, I think maybe it was their foray into the pickup truck world, the full-size pickup truck world. They spent a lot of money on that and got no traction, didn't they?
yes, they did. Plus, you don't see, and you haven't seen Nissan advertised very much in recent years, and certainly not advertised in a way that spurred your curiosity.
The other thing I talk about is the Z. You don't see any Nissan. I have not. I don't think I've seen one Nissan Z on the road.
I've seen, I don't know, one or two,
Okay,
of it, but yeah,
so how could a brand just lose its panache? I don't know. And it's a mass market brand. It's not like, you could say, well, Alpha, it's kind of the high end. They have a small amount. But Nissan's one of the remaining full line manufacturers, everything from small sedan, up until a short while ago, full size trucks. They have full size SUVs. I don't know why this is happening to them.
and they were one of the first Japanese brands to come here in the early 70s. Nissan, during the gas crisis, the Nissan B210 was, they getting close to 40 miles to the gallon, was just selling faster than they could get them off the trucks.
Right, right.
So they've been with us for more than half a century. I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we will get into this, and as I say, if you want to give us a comment on it, what you think, we'd be glad to hear from it. Coming up, though, we're going to talk Jeep. Stellantis brand, this should not be a brand that is in trouble, but there's a lot of trouble at Stellantis anyway.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the Jeep Wagoneer. The Wagoneer was going to be its own brand for a while, and they've kind of backed off of that, but it was going to be its own brand because it is very, very high end, isn't it?
Extremely high end, beautifully put together, lovely to drive, impossible to park. And I'm going to be honest about this. When we've reviewed cars over these years, and you and I have both done it for well over 30 years, you always try not to use up all the gas before you you turn it back.
We're coming in.
Yeah. So there it is.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. Fred Staub, Les Jackson. Les, time for the Jeep Wagoneer 2025 edition. Lot to talk about. Big vehicles. You buy this one, it comes with a private jet. It's a nice upgrade. It's a
$36 million option. But it really
sadly, I
nice.
think that might not even buy that jet. 36 million.
Hey, not.
Might be 100 million. I don't know. I haven't bought one in a while.
It's been years.
But let's talk about what's new. So what's new across the lineup, Jeep Wagoneer lineup? Power folding mirrors are now available, which is nice. I have one neighbor that always asks, do the mirrors fold in? He always asks about every car I get. He asks about that. It's an important thing. 20-inch aluminum wheels are now standard. Active lane management is now standard, which is important in a big vehicle like this. Adaptive cruise control is now standard. So what powers this gigantic beast? It is the Hurricane Twin Turbo Straight 6, 420 horsepower, 468 pound-feet of torque. That's more efficient by 15% compared to those Hemis. New this year, a carbide package includes black exterior accents and interior accents, 20-inch gloss black painted wheels, and you can get 22-inch polished wheels with black inserts as an upgrade. So upgrades abound here over at 2025 for the Wagoneer. Then they have 3 4x4 systems: Quadra Track 1, Quadra Track 2, and Quadra Drive 2. Crawl ratio of 48-1. These are still hardcore Jeeps, but
they really are. Towing capacity 10,000 pounds.
Nobody takes these to Moab, though, do they?
And you can drive through 2 feet of water.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't, but can.
These things are what, trading for $100,000 or more?
Plus, I mean, the cheapest one I've driven is 113.
Wow. That is
a base model.
Base model. Now comes with adaptive cruise control. But listen to some of these, as they call them, highly advanced user-friendly technology. Up to 40 inches of total screen display in the Jeep Wagoneer.
It gives an idea of how big it is.
20 inches of screens along the front instrument panel.
Mm-hmm.
A 10.1-inch reconfigurable center stack touchscreen. These are body on frame. and packed with more than 130
Yep.
standard and available advanced safety and security features. You got the Jeep Wagoneer, the Series 2, and the Series 3, which is the top of the range. So, sounds like some more content on these vehicles and a couple of different appearance packages. It is a big machine, and a lot of people do need this, but boy, it is like it's like driving a tractor trailer, isn't it?
Well, I do see these things towing horse trailers, small horse trailers
That
around
is a
here. This
big,
horse
big
country
part
is
of it.
just,
Yeah.
just a few miles away from D.C. here. And the people are obviously well-heeled.
I knew you were going to say well-heeled. I almost read your
Well,
mind there.
well, if you have no horse, I think you're pretty well-heeled.
I guess so. You have heels
Or
on
hoofed.
You're well hoofed. That's just silly.
But I know that's silly, but these are used. These
Yeah.
things don't just sit around.
Yeah. There is a market for big body on frame SUVs, especially some people buy them just to buy them, but some people buy them because they really need to buy them. So
Yeah.
Well, you have a story on JD Power, don't you? And it is about their sales satisfaction index, and we probably should explain what that is.
Yes, that's right. Well, it's customer satisfaction with the dealer purchase. When you go in to buy a new vehicle, you actually participate in a survey. They want the sales satisfaction index, SSI, which is very important to the dealers.
Mm-hmm.
And across the board this year, the overall customer satisfaction purchase experience is 801
Okay.
on a 1,000-point scale,
Okay.
which is better than last year of 793.
Okay.
So, what are they? What's the satisfaction? I mean, obviously, you better have a good experience just there.
Right.
rather
Means
than
you're going to
be-
come back and buy more, probably.
Yeah, not be tossed around by the slick sales techniques and all that. Pricing, buying these at MSRP or less.
Yeah. Good
Uh,
news, actually. Percentage of buyers paying above MSRP has declined, right?
Yes, it's now only 8% paid more than MSRP. I want your names.
Because we're going to get
Yes,
it down to zero.
I want to explain to you, don't do that.
That's right. That's right.
Um,
It will come.
and
You'll find it
premium.
somewhere else for less.
That's right. Check it out. Premium vehicle buyers only 6% paid more
Great.
than MSRP, so those come way down. They, you never know what buyers expect from a dealership, and you never know which buyers, by the way, might be obnoxious.
No, yes, there are some. This was
There are
a
some.
key takeaway. Battery electric vehicle buyers still less satisfied than ICE buyers.
Yeah.
They're less satisfied, and 857 that's dropped, but 857 is the satisfied people, but drops to 822 among mass market battery electric. That's not necessarily the dealer unless they're not explaining things. It might just be what I encountered, the infrastructure.
Well, and unfortunately, it could be the ownership. Once you buy the electric vehicle, as you have said today, charging it becomes sometimes a hassle.
Yes, it becomes a hassle, and it becomes
Yeah, why did I buy
worry.
this? This is
It's
more
a
trouble
worry.
than
yeah.
So we have rankings.
Okay.
Porsche ranks the highest. It has for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're going in to buy a Porsche, you probably are in a good mood and you're looking forward to
Yeah,
either rewarding yourself for hard work or it is aspirational. You've waited a long time and it should be a pleasurable experience, I would
it
imagine.
should be, and it is. I think
Yeah.
for the average Porsche buyer, which is also true of an Infinity,
Yeah.
which is Nissan. There we go again.
Yeah. Nissan, part of Nissan, which we talked
Yeah,
about, is having troubling issues.
yeah, and Jaguar, a surprise to be honest, ranks third. So good for Jaguar.
But now they are not really selling much.
No, no, and Mini ranks highest in sales satisfaction for mass market brands. Makes perfect sense. Many owners love these things. I mean,
I think you're going in, these are fun vehicles. You're going in
they're
with a
fun.
different attitude, like, hey, let's have fun,
Yeah,
buy this. It could be. JD
that's
Power
right.
Sales Satisfaction Index. When we come back, Les is going to tell us how he's going to build this car. So stay tuned to Cruise Control. We'll be right back. All right, Les. So you're going to electrify a classic car.
Yep.
Last week we talked about Mopar doing this at Sema, and we've got a lot of interesting comments. Some people are like, yeah, it's a cool car. I like it electrified. That's fine. Others are like, no way. I don't want that. That's wrong. That's ruined. But let's say you were going to put an electric all-wheel drivetrain, something like out of this Prologue that I had that had pretty good horsepower. What would you put it into?
Well, I would make every attempt to find a classic car of some kind to put it in because you're accomplishing two things. One is you're driving something that's really cool looking, but isn't old-fashioned and unsafe.
Okay.
You can drive it every day.
Yep.
It's not going to break down on you. So what would that be? For me, I would electrify a Corvair.
Oh, that's interesting.
I would certainly electrify a Mustang Fastback.
Oh, it's one of my favorites, the 66.
Yeah, absolutely. They just look great. They always have. I would electrify an Olds Toronado.
Aha, that's interesting.
And
Remember when Jay Leno took one of them and made it rear-wheel drive?
that's right. Yeah,
That was a bit of engineering. It's like, yeah, what if we
absolutely. Oh, a lot of engineering. What would you electrify?
maybe a old Toyota truck of some kind? No. But it's
Interesting.
coming in here.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at SEMA, Les Jackson. SEMA, the Specialty Equipment Market Association. It's wrapping up, but it's still providing some great stories, including this one on an AC Ace EV. And I'm going to let you take this because you have built up a AC Cobra and driven Cobras for a long time. So
Many hours in Cobras.
So apparently AC Cars is Britain's oldest active vehicle manufacturer.
Yes, they've never ceased operations. They sell very few vehicles, but you have to admit, Fred, for anybody who's looking online, it is one of the most beautiful shapes of a sports car that ever was produced.
Classic, so classic with that arched
It's just so
hood.
smooth and it's pretty.
Yeah, it's a pleasing shape.
And in the form of Cobras, it was a beast.
Oh, yeah,
It
when they
was
put
clearly
427 in and that,
hold on.
yeah.
you're going to be in for a ride. Um, and zero, zero comfort and safety appointment. Zero, other than seatbelts.
Lap belts only.
And you're doing 175 miles an hour in them.
Okay. Well,
So that's how I lost my hair. But the now AC cars is they've unveiled it with Trimac, the transmission people at Sema, and this is a fully integrated EV platform, and I guarantee you a very modern suspension. The originals, a lot like a Model A Ford.
so leaf springs and things.
Very weak point. So this is an electric car that has a 4.9 second 0 to 60, a 200-mile range, which doesn't sound like much, but this is a very small car. I can. You and I are about the same size. I barely fit in it.
Wow.
I mean, and to get if we were sitting in this thing together,
It would be like,
we would be tightly shoulder to shoulder.
yeah.
It's it's about as wide as my desk. So what they've done, they've built 49 examples of these. I think they used to be an aluminum body hand laid over a wooden buck.
Wow.
The metal workers in England are world class. Still do it, but
Wow.
this is carbon fiber body,
Wow. So it's even lighter.
even lighter. By the way, they never were more than about 1,800 pounds, with an engine and a full tank of gas.
Wow.
And this electric drivetrain is 300 brake horsepower.
Okay. And it's interesting, made by Tremec. They call it a Tremec Electric GT powertrain. As you said, famous for transmissions. Tremec,
Yeah, absolutely.
Tremec manual
Well,
transmissions. They go in a
yeah.
lot of custom cars.
Drivetrain engineering.
Yeah.
And they've done well. I mean, the shape is unmistakable. So clearly, they've done a spectacular job of keeping it where it is. And by the way, the dash layout is almost the way they did it originally. Well, actually, I'm sorry, that's a right-hand drive. They did do it originally because on the right and left of the steering column was the speedometer and the tach, and then the gauges were in the center of the dash 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1
Okay.
in a triangle. Yes, and
And you can get this in left or right-hand drive, by the way.
Oh
You can.
yes, it's very easy to switch it over.
Yeah.
It's just obviously the new one here, if they intend to sell them, have to be rather
Expensive?
equipped. Oh yeah, but equipped with at least some modern things such as headlights, bumpers. No, I mean
all those safety
the right-
items, headlights and
right.
bumpers.
bumper, crash protection bumpers and headlights. I would love to drive one of these just to compare it. In fact, we could put our two together, and I'm going to outrun it.
But you'll make a lot
Because
more noise.
I'll make a hell of a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, let's
use an awful lot of gas.
let's something else here that makes a lot of noise. Let's take a look at some of the builds from the Ring Brothers at SEMA. Ring Brothers do crazy things with vehicles. The level of detail is just over the top, and they have a 1970 Plymouth Cuda they made. It's called Infected. And they have done 5,600 hours of this in this build. Wheelbase has been extended. Front wheels moving forward 1.5 inches. Front fenders have been shortened. Grille surround and bumper guards have been milled from a single piece of billet aluminum. Front and rear bumpers have been tucked to allow them to be narrowed further to sharpen their muscular physique. And it's a car they've been itching to build. Man, vintage air climate control. It says it right here. Bespoke sound system with Apple CarPlay. Carbon fiber pistol grip shifter. Man, and a big Hemi up front.
A real big Hemi.
And it's got a cool color that kind of harkens back to the fun time of these vehicles. I always thought Cuda was a great-looking vehicle. But look at the level of detail on the bottom of this. Now, if that's not your jam, I think this is a particularly hard car to do, the Grand National. Remember, this is a downsized, plastic-laden car, one of the first downsized cars. And I always thought those things won't survive long because those parts were so cheap that it was the first attempt at downsizing. They just made them lighter and crappier. But it's something they do. They supply these vehicles with parts, believe it or not, hood hinges. But let's talk about the Invader. Dual-wire performance V6, 3.8-liter, twin turbocharged, integrated air jacks, carbon ceramic brakes, and much more. About 5,000 hours to build this one. So your shop time's a little bit lower cost.
Yep.
Angle of front fenders has been adjusted slightly. See what they do, Les? They just do these little tweaks to stuff.
It's these these subtle changes that take enormous numbers of hours.
Man.
The interior is very much 1987 Buick.
Yeah, square boxes. And...
I will say, in its defense, as it's very obvious, I don't think it's a good-looking car, never did. But it's better looking than a Cybertruck. So,
well, there's something.
So, but it's got a lot of power.
Yeah, 32 pounds of boost, the engine makes this is the detuned version, makes 1,246 horsepower on E85. If you want to turn up the wick to 50 pounds of boost, you can get 2,000 horsepower. That is crazy, man. That's a lot of boost. It's got 6 piston calipers, carbon ceramic rotors. They're 19-inch wheels, a stagger, so it's 19 front, 20 in the back. Just a good-looking, I think, build. I know you don't.
Well,
like
it's a heck of a good-looking piece of work, for sure.
And then there's one more, and this is the Turk or truck. I guess that is a stylized way to. Once again, K5. I wish I had bought one of these when they were cheap, a K5 Blazer, because I always thought they looked good.
Yep.
But they have done subtle things to this as well. It looks like a K5 Blazer, but every panel has been changed. It's got a 525 horsepower LS. Only 3,700 hours of work on this one.
Well, gee.
They call it a techno-utilitarian vehicle with an entirely bespoke cabin.
Okay.
We're going to try to break the record for saying bespoke.
Oh, the bespoke record?
Yes. So,
yes.
What do you think of this vehicle? I love K5 Blazers. I thought they were great.
I think this is they have built something very, very cool.
It has a Tacoma suspension on it, by the way. So they've taken a lot from Tacoma, all the way to Tacoma. That's a line from.
Well, it's a heck of a good suspension
from a Steve Miller song. But when we come back, we're going to have an at the wheel of this 51 mile per gallon vehicle, the Sonata Hybrid. Stay tuned to Cruise Control. So, Les, we want to get to this story from Mercedes. Have you ever had your windshield broken by a random rock? You know,
yes.
Sometimes they fall off a truck. Sometimes they just
Twice,
come out of nowhere.
twice. Random rock on heading on Interstate 81 north of Harrisburg.
Yeah.
And that was just a few years back. And then another one 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
uh, as the usual, a dump truck in front
Yeah.
of me on Route 95.
Hits a bump and
Yeah,
stuff
you
goes
know
flying.
you're trying everything you can to get out of the way from being in back of him, but it was too late.
Yeah, you got to be 200 feet back, which is hard to do. They
You
say.
do.
But anyway, always annoying. Mercedes has come with, turn the engineers loose. Mercedes has come up with this way of having your vehicle dodge rock chips if it sees debris in the road, if it senses there could be debris in the air, it will dodge them. Just basically it's not going to save it from being hit, but it will move the vehicle around to avoid this using LiDAR. What do you think of that?
Well, hey, why not?
Yeah. I looked when I was reading this story, I thought, can you get a film to cover your windshield to prevent rock chips? Do you know there are multiple manufacturers that do that? It's clear, it's optically clear, and it goes on
Yeah.
the outside and will prevent certain chips, obviously, if
Well, yeah, I mean, you could. It's polycarbonate. You could. That's what your eyeglasses are made of.
yep.
Sure,
Um,
but I mean, if the rock's big enough, it's going to
it's
just
going to go through everything.
go through.
The other thing I like to see is more manufacturers use Gorilla Glass, like your phone. Jeep offers that now, and I think that would be great to see other manufacturers offer that, so you don't get pitting and stuff. It's almost like NASCAR. They come in, they swap the windshields after a
Yeah.
while. You almost have to
Yeah.
do that on cars, So, but we're going to come back with the At the Wheel review. So stay tuned. What's coming up
Yeah.
is a Sonata Hybrid, beautiful sedan, and we will talk about that in a minute.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staub and Les Jackson. It's At the Wheel time. This time around, our At the Wheel review focuses on the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid Limited, the limited model. Beautiful vehicle, outstanding red. This is a premium color, although I don't think they charge extra for it, believe it or not. But it is a premium color with a colored clear coat, and it's called Ultimate Red. I like this vehicle a lot. I think the new design that happened in 2024 is stunning. I think it has bits of Genesis style in it, and it certainly competes with other models, let's say, from Toyota and even Lexus well for its price point. So let's dive into this. Of course, you can get a regular non-hybrid model of the Sonata, but this one happens to be the hybrid model. And I'll start right off with the numbers. It's rated 44 city, 51 highway for a combined number of 47. On the inside, some nice tan leather seats. I mean, this interior is a little bit sedate, but high quality. It's got some of the cues from the Hyundai lineup. We see that new steering wheel. We see the screens. Soft touch, separated by the sort of matte stainless steel looking finish. Overall, feels pretty quality oriented. We've got that display up front for all your instrumentation. You can vary that. You can make them look like vintage instruments if you want. Nav system was there, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and built-in nav. Haptic touchscreen for a heated steering wheel, heated seats, heated and cooled seats. Buttons for your ability to work your navigation system and things like that. So we like that a lot. Like the ability to go back to the old school looking gauges. You have the overhead view for parking. Of course, the backup camera and cameras all around. Has the wireless shifter. that has become so commonplace on Hyundai. So I've gotten used to that a lot. And then it has those three dots on the dash, which are sort of the new look of Hyundai. Overall, big screen that kind of goes from the driver almost over to the passenger. Indirect lighting, which is really nice. Out back, good seat room, good headroom. We've got seating for 3 passengers, and it's a pretty comfortable place to spend time. I like that they've gone with the black treatment on the back of the seats, a couple of USB-Cs. And overall, Hyundai has sedate interiors. This one is a little bit more up to date and quality materials. I like the arrow on the spoiler, those vortex generators on the rear spoiler. I think that was pretty cool. Here's a plus, man. They have put a button on the trunk. It opens up electronically. It also closes electronically, much like the hatch on an SUV. Previously, sometimes Hyundai would not put a button on the back to open the trunk. I'm glad to see they did this, and I like that it opens electronically and closes electronically. Good storage on the inside. Decent quality lining on the trunk. And then you get a couple of remote pulls for the seats to fold down, which is good. No PowerPoint, Les Jackson. I know that's upsetting to you. Underneath, since this is a hybrid, it means that there's just an inflator system, although it almost looks like you could put a spare, space saver spare in there. Under the hood, the powertrain was the hybrid system, and we liked it a lot. It was more than enough power to move this vehicle down the road. Nicely integrated electric motor. The transition between electric and gas was very smooth. You didn't notice anything, and frankly, the power levels were great. Nice to see, too, they have these rods to hold up the dash, so you don't have to put the rod in there, and have these gas shocks to hold up the vehicle's hood. I like the lighting up front, the light LED light bar that went from one side to the other. Really premium look. I also like the turn signal indicator, which is a bit of Genesis in this vehicle, and it's a safety thing that, not bad. The more lights you have on the vehicle, the easier they can see you, right? Overall, great look to the vehicle. Really, when you see this and you walk up, you're like, wow, what is that? And Hyundai has done a great job of doing this. And great to see that this hybrid is available. I still think a hybrid sedan or a crossover is a great way to go these days as the world slowly transitions to electric. That's 2-liter 4-cylinder hybrid engine. The power is transferred through a 6-speed automatic transmission. I like that. Less speeds in the transmission. It's a real transmission, and it was great. Of course, you get the great 5-year, 60,000-mile new vehicle warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Full suite of safety, blind spot collision warning, rear cross traffic collision avoidance, parking collision avoidance. It goes on and on and on and on. Now, let's talk pricing. The manufacturer's suggested retail price for this is $37,200. The only thing we had was carpeted floor mats for $210 with delivery and freight and handling, $1,150. Total price $38,560 for a well-built sedan, good coverage, hybrid drivetrain. I think if more people considered sedans, this is something they should look into. The styling, once again, was great. The feature set is great. There's like nothing else you could want in this vehicle. And that's why there's no options really other than the floor mats, and probably, you can add things like lighted thresholds and things like that, but no options needed really other than what comes with the vehicle. They've thought of everything. Hybrids, I've got to say, I'm an unabashed hybrid fan. It's the way to go right now. I think manufacturers are realizing that. We'll see a greater percentage of hybrids throughout the whole new car fleet easily as more become available. Hats off to Hyundai, though. They said they're going to have 7 more hybrid models next year. They're on it. What do you think of that shifter? At first, when I encountered it, I thought I can't really see it. Now, I've become a fan of it. It works pretty easily, and it's very responsive. And I believe they've made it even more responsive this year.
Yeah, I think I think it's an easy thing to get used to. If you think about it, Mercedes did that starting a few years ago
Yeah.
with the little stalk. Once you have it, it becomes second nature. You get muscle memory on it.
You know what I like about the Hyundai version is it feels solid. Some of the other ones feel so tender, like they're going to break off in your hand. This feels solid. It's a good, solid snap back when you turn the knob or when you press the parking knob. So it's something you touch. It should feel solid. It shouldn't feel like it's going to snap off in your hand.
You're going to touch it many, many, many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a nice job. And, of course, the Kia sister car to that is the K5, which
someone I know owns one. Yes, and you're happy.
Very happy with it. The interior components, same soft touch, actually a little more detailed, a little more shadow lines in all of the fixtures. Very rich feeling.
And even the non-hybrid, you get what, 40 some odd on the
I
highway?
get on a highway 43.
Wow. So
Which
big,
is
big
impressive.
big car, and
It is
getting
big car.
43. Yeah, formerly
Yeah.
that would be a Nissan Versa or something.
Regular gas.
Like that. Well, it's time for me to say I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road. Take care.
Bye.